Hello, welcome to this new episode of the Alex Show TV. And as you can see, I have a guest, and I'm very honored. It's a pleasure to have Tia Renee from the Tia Renee podcast. Thank you, Tia, for accepting my invitation.
Thank you so much, Alex, for inviting me. I'm really excited to be your guest. This is an honor.
Thank you. The honor is all mine. And I'm sorry, I apologize. It's Tia Renee. I'm sorry about the pronunciation. Tia Renee. Sorry about that. Tia, we were discussing before recording, and as I shared, I watched a few of your videos, and we have a few passions in common. And one of that is sharing this idea that we're eternal beings. So I really wanted to ask you, when in this lifetime did that curiosity or that concept first arrive, and how did you go about that, discovering that you are an eternal being?
Well, I had an unusual experience. When I was 26 years old, my husband was murdered, and I experienced a portion of his death with him. And I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know that's what I was experiencing until recently, actually. And it's been about 21 years now. And so it took me 20 years to figure out that I had a partial shared death experience with him. And so this really opened up my eyes. It was obviously a very painful experience, and it changed my whole perspective on life, that I wasn't in control of everything. And things started happening to me shortly after his death. First, I had that shared death experience, and then I started having out-of-body experiences shortly after he died. And I didn't know what was happening then either. I was just a very typical all-American, apple pie, baseball, that kind of thing. Going to church on Sundays, working Monday through Friday, kind of American. I didn't really think outside the box. I was born and raised Christian. That's what I believed. I believed, everything that I thought I was supposed to believe. I lived my life the way that I thought I was supposed to live my life. And, so out-of-body experiences and shared death experience didn't fit into my life. It didn't fit into my way of thinking, into my paradigm. So I don't even know the word. I was dumbfounded. I didn't know what was happening. So I had asked some members of my parents' church, or my parents actually went to my parents first, and they spoke to some members of their church, and they kind of had this intervention with me that these out-of-body experiences and these things that were happening to me was very dangerous, and that I should stop immediately everything that I was doing, or I was going to go crazy. And I didn't know how to get through to them that I wasn't trying to do anything. These things were happening to me. So that didn't satisfy my curiosity. I still didn't know what was happening to me. So I sought out a spiritual church. I lived in Las Vegas at the time, and there was a couple little spiritual churches around. I went to one, and I told them what happened. And they said that I was having out-of-body experiences. And I didn't believe them. I was like, that's not something that can actually happen. You can't be out of your body. That's nonsense. I was convinced that it was strictly my husband was coming back from the other side to communicate with me, because I felt his presence very strongly during these out-of-body experiences. And that's all I thought it was. And I didn't think that it was anything more, or that, that I could exist without my body. I believed in life after death, but not here on earth. That couldn't happen on earth. You have to die to separate from your body. So I went home, and my curiosity was piqued, and I went home, and I had just gotten a computer a couple years before. This was in 2003, and maybe even just a few months before, actually. And I wasn't really well versed on how to use the computer in the best possible way to search things. So I sat down in front of the computer, and I just searched out-of-body experience, just to see what I could come up with. And lo and behold, there was this Yahoo group that I found. And these people were explaining these experiences that were very similar to mine. And I thought, maybe there's something more to this. Maybe it is an out-of-body experience. So I then just dove headfirst into everything spiritual. Out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, all those things. And I I think it was Borders. We had a Borders near where I worked, and I would go there after work almost every day and pick up a book or two, and I would just pour through them, trying to figure out what all this was all about. This was all so new to me, and I was in deep, deep mourning. I was trying to find out if my husband still existed, because the faith that I had in Christianity was just that. It was just faith. I didn't need faith. I didn't want faith. I wanted to know. I wanted to feel that he was still somewhere, that I hadn't lost him, that I would see him again. I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to know it. So I did everything that I could to figure out everything I could about spirituality, about these spiritual experiences. And it really led me down a very deep rabbit hole where I've learned so much about myself. But how I got it, my podcast is basically about near-death experiences. And how I really got onto that was I picked up a book at Borders called Life After Life by Dr. Moody. And that book really gave me so much comfort that there was people having these experiences, and they were they were visiting the other side and coming back. And my mind was absolutely blown. I couldn't believe that this information was out here, and I had never heard of it. And why didn't the whole world know about this? It was I felt like it was the most important thing that you could know, that we're not really ever going to die. And another thing about it is that what we understand of hell and heaven maybe isn't what is truly hell and heaven. That maybe what I believed, maybe it was only half truths, or it was missing some truth in some way. So I was, mind blown. Mind blown is just the best word. My whole life shifted after this. I was so excited about these near-death experiences. I wanted to write Dr. Moody and let him know that how much his book had helped me, and see if I asked him if I could meet him. And I didn't think I would ever actually hear back from him, but he did email me back, and he invited me to his home in Alabama. He lived in Alabama at the time. And I went out to visit him, and I spent the day with him in his beautiful home. And he created this psychomantium, which is a space in his home, or a space that anyone can really create, where you can have this communication or interaction with a loved one who's passed. So I got to experience his psychomantium. Unfortunately, I didn't have an experience with my husband at the time, but I did go home and make my own psychomantium. And much later on, after I did a lot of practice, I did have an experience with my husband in my own kind of makeshift psychomantium. But this opened up a lot of new avenues for me. Everything changed. Everything about my life changed. I was struggling, and, don't get me wrong, there was no cakewalk for me. I was struggling for many, many years, and it was like I was buried. But the way that I was able to crawl up out of it, to unbury myself, was this knowledge that we are so much more than these physical bodies, that it's not something that's far away from us or only after death, that we're actual spiritual beings right now. That we don't have to wait for anything. There is no search for anything. Everything is right here, right now. And we are this spiritual being. For a long time, I was searching for myself, searching for this spirit that I was, or this soul, or whatever you want to call it. I was searching for who Tia was, without realizing that I am who I am right now. There's no searching. And everything, the room I'm in, and the house I'm in, and the state I'm in, and whatever, those are all a part of me, and it's an extension of me. And it was just a beautiful unveiling of so many truths, and I'm continue growing each day. But through my podcast, I wanted to share just a little bit of what near-death experiences and other spiritual experiences as well have brought to me, the healing, the comfort, the wisdom that they brought to me. I wanted to be there to share that with the world, and just my little part in sharing that with the world, and helping anyone else that was struggling like I was, who needed that information to kind of dig themselves out of their hole.
Yes, thank you for that. That was beautiful. And first of all, I want to start saying I'm sorry you had to go through that so young, at 26. but certainly your life could have gone different ways. Will be very understandable to crumble at that age after something going through something through that depression or taking many paths. And in a way, I don't want to say it was a good thing, but it brought you this way. And I was continuously nodding, yes, 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 because what you were saying were very much aligned, that we're so much than this experience, that this body. We're always spirits. We never cease to be spirits. In a way, I don't want to criticize any religion, but religions kind of make it that we're gonna get to that point after that. And of course, there's some rules and regulations to get there, okay, of each religion. And we're always spirits, and the spirit, I think it relinquishes kind of control to the body in this experience, saying, okay, you go ahead. And that's the part I wanna put the curiosity on each of us, that I've tried to make that switch and put my spirit in charge. And it changes your life. And I think it's the same case for you. It changes your life completely, this outlook, that a lot of the things we go through here, it's unfortunately by design. There's a system in place that really wants you to behave a certain way, okay? And one of the things it wants you to be afraid of death. So of course they don't want testimonies like Peter Panagor that we both have had as a guest. They don't want testimonies like that. They don't want you to hear about Peter Panagor on the omnipresence, that sheer love of the creation of the creator. They don't want to hear about that. They want you to fear that. So in a way, through that, they control you. I say many times, they control us in life and they control us in death through the fear, okay? If you're afraid of dying, there's something inherently wrong there, which is that fear, okay? You shouldn't be afraid of dying. First of all, because you're not going to cease existing, okay? And second is, even if we cease existing, what's the point of being fearful? Enjoy your life, okay? Don't be thinking that, okay, I'm going to live for 20 more years. Right now, for example, that I'm 51, maybe you say, okay, maybe if I'm lucky, I live 30 years, 40 years. That's not the way to go about it. If I live one more day, it's gonna count. And I'm gonna try to make it special, okay? And they want you to be fearful. They want you to be counting the days, the years to your death. Because then when that happens, they have you in the state that you are not able to solve this puzzle that this reality is, in my opinion, okay? And I believe near-death experiences are so important, and I totally disagree respectfully with the ones that say it's an hallucination, that the pineal gland releases DMT or something like that. And you are the example. You had a joint experience with your husband. How does that happen? Was that a group hallucination? No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, it's clearly you were so joined by that tragic and unfortunate passing of your husband that you went through it in a way together, okay? And your husband was probably very close to this space, to this plane for a few years. And that's why you felt his presence differently, okay? It's something, I have a big channel you're on, and I also have a Spanish channel, mostly for Mexican viewers. And I've had a few episodes on reincarnation, that kind of things. And the questions are always, I'm gonna see my loved one again. Is my mother okay? And it's so difficult to explain that, yes, they're fine. They're somewhere else. Maybe they're not here anymore. Maybe they have reincarnated in a human body. Maybe if it's a long time, maybe they're already reincarnated in your grandson or something like that. It's possible because they usually stay within family groups. But the thing is, we always want to extend this life. I don't know if this is something you have seen. We want to kind of want our mother back, or father back, or husband back, or wife back, or for the ones that have had the unfortunate passing of children, or their sons or daughters. We want kind of to extend this. And when we realize we're eternal and we're all in our way, and we're going to see each other eventually, maybe in different roles, everything is fine. You kind of detach of that understandable pain and suffering of wanting your loved one back. I don't know if that kind of has happened to you.
And it's funny because we want them back, but they never really left. They never left to go anywhere. And it's really hard to understand that when you've lost a loved one. There's so much pain and so much suffering, and your heart feels like heavy leaded rock. It's just despair. It was absolute horrific to go through those times that I went through after losing him. For myself, for his family, for our children. It was incredibly difficult. But there will come a point when you realize that they're right here still, and they're actually a part of you. They're never going to leave you because they are a part of you. They'll always be a part of you, and they always have been. And I've had many visitations from them in dreams. My dad has also died. I say them because my dad died 4 years later, also in a very terrible way of cancer, that he really kind of just withered away to nothing. He was a big, strong man and looked nothing more than a skeleton when he died. And it was very traumatic and very difficult for our family. But he's come to me, and I remember in one dream, people say, "Oh, it's just a dream." But when you have a dream visitation, it's not a dream. Completely different. And I was hugging him, and I was so overwhelmed with joy and love. I couldn't hold myself up. So I was holding his shoulders and holding myself up around, his neck, hugging him. And I was crying, and I was saying, "Dad, I thought you died. I thought you died. I'm so glad you're here. I thought you died." And that's all I could say was, "I thought you died, Dad." And he was rubbing my back, and he said, "No, I got better. I got better." And so that I woke up with a whole new outlook on his death. Like, he is no longer sick, and he isn't anywhere else. Where is the dream state? Where is the dream state where he visited me? It's nowhere far away. I actually was there. It's in my own being. That's where my dad is, and in everything. So yeah, I get what you're saying. It's really hard for us to lose people, and we want to have them back, but they're not gone. They're not gone. And they communicate with us all the time. Really, and in all honesty, all you have to do is ask. Say, "Please, I need something. I need to hear from you. Please send me a sign," and give them a sign that you want to see. A penny on the floor. People say a white feather. These are very typical signs. You can ask for anything. Ask for, to see a purple sunset, whatever, something that's not going to be very common, something that you're going to it's going to trigger you to say, "That is the sign that I asked for from my loved one." And you'll see they'll answer you every single time.
Yes, I agree completely. I think that's an excellent advice, to talk to them all the time. I believe when we dream is something very special, that there's very little weight on that. One of the suggestions I give is sleep more. Okay, I hear some friends that they sleep 2 hours, 4 hours. For me, it's just too little. Shoot for 6, 8, because the dream state is so important. Because if you think about it, is when we lose the consciousness of this reality. So yes, of course, there's some physical fixing going on, some detoxing and that. It's scientifically proven that the liver and everything is kind of trying to detox during sleep. But also, I believe there's a spiritual kind of break. Okay, that's a scientific fact. And there was a YouTuber that tried that, and for me, it was very bad. He did that of going without sleep. I believe 12 days or 14 days. If you go like 20 or 20 something days, you die. Okay, and they say, of course, it's the inflammation of the brain. Yes, of course, they're going to say that. But the way I see it, my intuition tells me it's the spirit not having a break. The spirit being this reality for 20 something days straight, 24/7, is just so difficult. The spirit has to get a break. And when we sleep, we go places. Okay, I've had those experiences, especially as I was young, because I think there's mental obstructions that then don't allow you to have the same experiences. But when I was a child, I will go outside of this unit, of this solar system, and some beings will come for me and take me there. Very benevolent. No, they wouldn't ask anything of me. It was just pure love. Okay, so it's very important, that state. It's very important, and these out of body experiences are way easier when you're sleeping. I know they can be achieved through meditation and other ways. However, the easiest way, the natural way for me, is just have a deep sleep. Every night I'm trying now for years, or not trying, I'm doing kind of a ritual that 5 minutes before I go to sleep, I prepare my sleep and I say, hey, I wanna leave Earth tonight. I wanna meet someone. I wanna just relax. And I wake up happy. I wake up relaxed. I wake up in harmony. And yes, my day, because I'm a regular person with regular problems, I have 2 children, I have a wife, I have a business, I have financial stresses. Right now, our country, Mexico, is going through very difficult times, politically speaking. So we all have problems. I live in a big city, traffic, pollution, all that. So my day will take me all over the place, but then I reach night and I say, hey, now I'm going there. And as I'm preparing my next question here is, in your experience with so many people from near-death experiences, has happened to you that they mentioned that they didn't want to come back? That when they came back, it was just such a beautiful experience. I remember Peter saying that, that like, why am I here? Okay, I want to go back to where I was. Has that happened to you?
Only a couple people have ever said that they wanted to come back, and it was
Wow, okay.
usually for their
Yes,
children.
yes.
Yeah, they wanted to come back because they felt a need to raise their children. And I've talked to hundreds of people who've had out of body experiences. Most of them, 99%, more than 99%, didn't want to come back. They loved it there. It was so comforting. They felt like all this weight had just fallen off, stress and suffering and worrying and all the pain and density and gravity and all the things associated, the negative things associated with their physical body and the physical existence just kind of fell away. And they felt as light as air, and they were filled with bliss, complete joy. And the word that I hear more often than not is love. The love was ineffable. There are no words to explain this intense love. And it's more than a love between a parent and a child. You know, when you have a newborn baby, I remember holding my children, you know, as soon as they were born, holding them. And I can't even imagine a love greater than that. But apparently this love is greater than that. And it's just a remarkable place, a state of being, not a place. It's more of a state of being in this intense, vibrating joy of peace and love. And acceptance is another great word. They're accepted for who they are. We see a lot about life reviews, and the judgment is not there, that we're sometimes taught that we're judged, you know, and it's decided if we're going to go to an eternal hell or heaven with this judgment. And in near-death experiences, that's not the kind of judgment that we see. It's more of a, how could you have done this better? Or this is how it affected this person. It's more of a lesson, an understanding of how we can react better to situations instead of a damning judgment. So yes, near-death experiences are typically very positive, and people don't really want to come back from them. And often when they do, they're upset, they're angry, they're mad at whoever's revived them. And it's funny because you think, you're doing a good job at bringing someone back to life, and then they're angry at you when you've completed that mission. So yeah, it's a very interesting concept to be angry about being brought back to life.
Yes, and you mentioned a couple of things that I have to jump in. The bliss, beautiful word. The bliss, the unexplainable, cannot put it in words, love. And I believe it's of creation, of our Father. It's not a man, it's not a human being, it's not something we can describe. It's this pure energy that created us, that you feel the lack of judgment. Love is also the lack of judgment. That's why, yes, I know about the life reviews, but I disagree with the ones that talk about judgment, that you're judged there. And then that's why we have to come back and back and back and back, because we're obviously going to continue making mistakes. And I say it's going to be an infinite cycle, because if you think about it, okay, we agreed to come back to fix our mistakes, but we are clear, our memory is clear. So it's really, they send you to fail. When the life review is without judgment, And they allow you, like Peter said, to contemplate what you have done to others, but without judgment. So it's beautiful because that's when you really evolve. That's when you really understand what you should do and what you shouldn't do. I believe there's something else going on those so-called life reviews that apparently a spiritual being of some sort is kind of presenting you your mistakes and saying, you have to come back. You have to sign this soul contract or something like that you're going to come back and fix these things. It's so different from the concept of having a life review and you self-judging, you contemplating the pain you have done and saying, how am I going to fix this? I need to change. I need to mature. And that's, for me, true spiritual evolvement. I don't believe we learn through pain. I don't believe we learn through suffering. They don't need to send you back to get killed to understand you don't have to kill. Because at the end, what suffers is the body. I'm totally sure your father, the moment he passed away, he stopped suffering. There was no more pain. And it was very important for him to transmit that to you, okay? And through the dreams and the contacts, which I totally believe what you're saying. Some people say it's just a dream, you are creating it. No, it's an experience with your father, okay? And people that have passed, they feel our pain. And for them it's so important to let us know, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay, okay? I'm more concerned about you than you should be concerned about me. Okay, so the suffering is always in the body, and I want to introduce the next concept, which is heaven and hell. I believe it's so much more than that. Okay, it's not like we're presented that, hey, you go through this life, you don't do so good, you're gonna go to hell. You do well, you're gonna go to heaven. I believe the universe is so perfect and so just in its ways that, of course, if I continuously interfere with others, and it's not just killing, it's abusing, it's treating improperly, it's not respecting, it's judging, it's doing all that to others, it's imposing my will to others. Because of free will, yes, we have free will, but it arrives, it stops at the moment you trample into someone. Okay. So for me, the universe is so perfect that realities are designed in a frequency level. And if you continue doing that, you're going to go to a lower reality, lower than Earth, yes. And that's when these beings, such as, ghosts and these kind of things, sometimes they are there. And they are so confused and they are so much in pain and they don't know how to come back that's why they're evil, okay? That will be the example of hell. And I also believe, not on your channel, I don't recall, but on some others, that there are some people that recall they have gone through that, kind of seeing monsters and demons in these experiences. Maybe they had to experience that. Maybe it's also kind of a memory that I believe we have all been in these places, okay? And we are here on Earth, so maybe we're improving, okay? So that will be my view of hell. It's not really something definite. It's not something you're in constant suffering. You're not going to be there forever. You're encapsulated. It's like a jail because you really haven't learned your lessons, that we're here to serve others, that we're here to not interfere with others, that we're here just to really be loving, not judgmental, not fearful, not rageful, not in division. We're here to unite. And so if you continue going, not learning, the universe is going to put you in a frequency level that you are aligned with. You want to be there. In a way, it's self-punishment. And heaven is the opposite. Is this call of this higher reality, which I believe the Earth soon will be. That when humanity really evolves and matures, when we go from children to adults, we really have to mature. It's a lot of responsibility on us. This idea that is coming from the heavens, yes, great, but it's the help is coming from the heavens. Humanity has to change, and we have to mature and just be good to each other and unite. And that's when a different reality will be there available, which will be less dense. The body will be less important, will be even more in spiritual state, and there won't be suffering, diseases, scarcity, and all of the things of this reality. And then if you continue going, you lose the body eventually. The body, and you become in pure spiritual experiences until you eventually, I believe, or eternal path is joining the unity consciousness, the everything. And you go back. You go back to creation. You go full circle, and you go there forever, just being part of this bliss. Okay. That's the way I see it. And I think the explanation of simplistic that you do bad on this reality and you don't repent at the end and stuff like that, you go to hell, is very simplistic. There's something there, yes, but it's not as definitive as it sounds. I don't know what you think about that. Sorry about taking so
Yeah,
long.
yeah, I like how you describe that. So in my information gathering from all of my personal experiences, the reading that I've done through meditations and talking to people who've had near-death experiences and watching near-death experiences, what I've been able to gather is that heaven and hell are frequencies, like kind of like what you were saying. And I have interviewed some people who have gone to a hellish lake landscape, right? They have seen terrifying things, demons, monsters, torture, those kind of things. But it was temporary, like you said, very temporary. And once they realized they had control, that they were the ones that were holding themselves there, it's almost like instantly they were in a heavenly landscape. And it's all about vibration, all about frequency. And so this is one of my goals, is to help people live a better life, because for multiple reasons, right? I want people to know that they're an eternal spiritual being, to not live in fear of death, because death doesn't really truly exist the way we think it does. Not only that, but anxiety that is caused by the fear of death is a frequency. Okay. Anxiety, guilt from things that you've done in your past, negative feelings in general that are giving you negative feelings in your physical body. If you die, then you're going to be in a negative frequency then, and maybe be experiencing more of an unpleasant experience. So I want to help people get to a point where they are at peace with themselves. They're not feeling guilt. They're feeling calm and love. They don't have this anxiety within them of anything. Public speaking is one of the things that causes me great anxiety, but I learned to overcome that, because I don't want to have anxiety about anything. But when you have these built up negative feelings inside you, when you cross over, not saying 100% of the time, but maybe sometimes those have to filter out still, and it could create an unpleasant experience. But that's just my take. I haven't been there. I haven't been on the other side, but it's what I've been able to gather from the 21 plus years of experience that I have in spirituality.
Yes, you explain it beautifully. That's what I tried to explain, that these are temporary situations that we can crawl back from. I love that when you said hellish environments or experiences. It's not really this definite place. Also, if anything, heaven. Sorry about that. If anything, heaven is more that last experience I'm talking about, that I do believe we go back. And this, even religion says you're going to sit beside God. I don't like using the word God. I use the word creator. We're going to be with the creator, because we started with him and we're going to go back to him. So you go full circle. And then that doesn't mean your experience has ended. You're going to be bliss every time. When these people have experienced that, it's beings that have gone through the same experiences, and they're giving back that beautiful bliss, okay? Because again, we're part of the same thing. We're all part of creation. I think even religions agree on that there's a creator and a God and everything. So
and let me just say, you don't go back to creator. You are with creator right now.
Yes.
It's just the letting go of everything that's not creator. We've created our own little creation of who we are. Like, I think I'm Tia Renee with blonde hair and, all these guilts and traumas in my past and all these joyous experiences. Well, but those are just experiences. They're not me. I am already with creator, and I have to let go of those negative experiences. I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
No, it does. And I'll explain it in a different way, because maybe, yes, it's very separating that I say we go back. We're always there, but we have this idea we're a separate thing. We want to go through these separate experiences. It's all free will. We want to do that. But I believe when these near-death experience the bliss, if possible, they will say, I'm ready. I really want to just be, I don't want to be a separate thing anymore. Even if it's me creating it, I'm never separate. We're always with the creation. We're always, you and I and everyone watching, we are the same thing. We think we're different things, as you say, okay? And we go through these separate experiences. I share that kind of a metaphor of we're a piece of the puzzle, and the little piece goes through experiences, and we're equally important. It's not that there are bigger pieces, smaller pieces, non-important pieces, important pieces. We're all equal important to creation. And we go through these little experiences. And then at the end is the moment I think you feel you really don't deserve to go back, is the moment you leave everything. The moment you say, I just want to serve the unity. I just want to say my creation, my universe. That's the moment it takes you back and you stop having experiences. That's what I mean with going back to creation, that really I believe there are some things that they stop having experiences. As I said, this ascension, that is word that is very, unfortunately, is used for different meanings, but this ascension of consciousness, this ascension of frequency, you go through these experiences, you lose the body at some point, and then eventually you really just are part of that everything. Okay, that's what I meant. But you're right. We think we're separate things, and also that's the basis of hate and fear and envy and rage, that we think it's like you cutting your own arm. Okay, if you want to harm someone in Africa or whatever, it's like you cutting your own finger. Okay, we are part of the same thing. We're like cells in a body. It's like one cell attacking the other. It doesn't make sense at all. Okay, but it's just this concept that we're separated, and yes, we that's a discussion for another show, because that's a show on its own. But I do believe this reality, there's an agenda. Okay, there's an agenda for us to behave this way, and for me, that agenda has become clear. Doesn't mean that I'm very smart. Just for me, the agenda has become clear, that how do we fix this world? By changing. I can only change myself. So that's the thing I can do for this world. If we all change, then this is going to change. And I feel it's changing. We're all changing. The world right now is very polarized. Yes, there's a lot of issues going on, but there's also a lot of beauty and a lot of changing going on, a lot of maturing going on. People are understanding. I need to be better. I need to be more responsible of my own acts. I need to change. And the only one I can change is me, because I know people believe they can change others, leaders, and that, but that in our core, inside us, we are only able to change ourselves. That's what I believe. That's my opinion, Colin.
Yeah, we can lead by example. I think that's the best way. And let me just say that I love your puzzle analogy, because I often use that as well. Like each little piece of the puzzle has its own picture, its own, different pixels, and they're laid out in different ways. There's no two puzzle pieces that are the same, but yet the picture wouldn't be complete if it was missing just one puzzle piece.
They're all important.
Yes, exactly. I love that. It's so true. And what were you saying? Sorry, I was caught up on that puzzle. I love that so much.
No, and I want to say that I also say that in that puzzle, let's say it's a picture of a building or something like that. Okay, so we make it clear. Yeah. And there is a car in the street or something. You can be a little piece of the tire of the car, and you can be a little piece of the window. That's the beauty, that we, in these separate experiences, we're different. Okay, and that's something that should unite us, not separate us. Oh, your skin is different. Oh, your sexual preference is different. Oh, you're from a different country, or you're from a different economic, financial level. Oh, you're not so smart, or because some people don't understand also that we are built different. It's just most times a matter of luck. And some people are built for sports, and some people are not built for sports. And that doesn't make them better or worse. The moment we realize we're truly equal in the eyes of creation, we're all beautifully loved. And that's the testimony these near-death experiences bring back. I was loved unconditionally. There was no judgment there. It was not that, you have done this, you have done that. That's why I mentioned sometimes people in jails, people that really have, and you mentioned it a while ago, I wanted to talk about that, guilt. They have this feeling they have gone so wrong. Well, you can change today. You can start changing today, okay? And the part is truly in your heart. I believe religions kind of make a good attempt at that is called true redemption. And true redemption is really contemplating the pain you have inflicted, going through that and making a self-judgment and I don't want to say reparation because it's the wrong word, but a change. To say, my offering to the universe, I'm going to change. I killed, I'm not going to kill again. I defrauded, I'm not going to defraud again. Whatever. That's the moment. That's true redemption. If we do it just from the word, from the mouth out, like particularly the Catholic religion, there's confession. No? So you go, you share your sins, and then gives you, I don't know, 3 Holy Fathers and whatever, and please help out or something. And then you go back a couple of months later, Father, I have sinned again. Is it truly, is it true redemption? Because it doesn't work that way. It has to come from the inside, I believe. And as Peter said, I was feeling that when he said, I felt the pain I inflicted. That's the only way. That's the only way you're really, not by someone doing it to you, because that's the wheel is going to keep spinning forever. And that's what they want us. They want us fighting each other. They want us being divided. They want us hating each other. That's why I don't believe in that kind of reincarnation. I believe that you reincarnate free of guilt, and the things you have done, you offer the universe the reparation of changing, of maturing, because that's going to take you to that frequency level that really you're going to get to a point that you're going to be only love. That's what I believe. Maybe it's a little bit naive, I know, and doesn't attach to the idea of human justice, that you did it, you have to suffer pain. I don't believe in that. I think animals go through that. Your dog does something, you hit it, he doesn't want to be hit again, so it's going to stop doing it. I don't believe we as spirits will learn through that way.
Well, maybe your dog learns like that, but my dog doesn't. So
no, it was an example. No, I don't think my dog. And it's even parents. Okay, we're both parents.
No, I was saying.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry. My
it was
dog
an
is a
example.
misbehavior. My dog doesn't learn anyway, so
Okay.
she's a troublemaker.
No,
That's what I was trying to get across. But you were talking about this polarization that's happening on the planet, and it's such a different world than what I grew up in. Right? I grew up in a place where people weren't as kind as they are now, but there was more unity. And now I feel like it's the opposite. There's more kindness, but less unity. So people are willing to accept people for who they are. There's less bullying. There's less judgment nowadays. People are more accepting. We are coming to the point where we can look at people and empathize with them. I think people are becoming more empathetic as a whole. Not everyone, but a lot of us are. And we can look at, well, we've been hurt in our past, and this is why we do things, and understand that maybe that's why other people act the way they act. And so we are less judgmental. We take things less personal than we did 20, 25, 30 years ago, even more. But at the same time, this polarization, like you were talking about, is happening where we're becoming more divided. There's so many things that divide us. And it's like there is this energy that's trying to force all these divisions on us: race, color, religion, political, affiliation, so many things, what religion we are, what country we're from, all these things trying to divide us. And those are the things that I feel like the earth is shifting, that humanity is shifting, and we're coming into more of a golden age. I don't know if you want to call it golden age, but a better place than where we were in our past. And so these negative things kind of have to rear their ugly head. It's kind of like if you do an exfoliation on your face, it's bringing the things out, right? Let me think of another example. It's bringing things up to the surface. When you scrub your floors, you're bringing the things out of the little cracks and the crevices so that you can get rid of them. You can wash them away. And I feel like that's a lot of what we're seeing now. We're bringing these negative things up to the surface, and they feel very strong, and they feel very heavy, and they feel very overwhelming. But it's so that we can get rid of them. That's why this kindness has started to overtake it, because we have brought these things up to the surface. Bullying, we don't allow bullying now. We brought that to the surface. We've brought that to light. We've shown people how damaging it can be. And now our society is not tolerant of that anymore. If we don't bring things to the surface, there's no way to wash them away. So I know it looks dire sometimes, and there's, a lot of negativity going on, but we're bringing it to the surface so that we can wash it away as humanity. The media, the politics, the government, no one's going to wash it away for us. We have to do it as society, as humanity, as you and I and everybody watching this, and the working class, the people that are out here living life. We have to see these things and say we don't want that anymore, and wash those away and make them non-existent. These divisions that I'm talking about, we are one. That is one of the main messages in so many near-death experiences, is that we're all one. There is no separation. And this creator created all of us, and we're all a part of this creator. How could we possibly be divided? How could we possibly not love one another as we would love our own children or our own parents? We're all one, or ourselves. And that's, I think, another whole different story, but we need to learn to love ourselves too.
Yes, that's also a lot of very interesting things you said there. The exfoliation analogy I think it hit the nail in the head, because I think the polarization that is going on is actually people that don't want to change. They're afraid of changing. They're afraid that they're becoming something else. They're so into this persona, this reality, this concept that they're a physical thing, that they have to go through all this competition. Maybe they think they're ahead. Maybe they're financially wealthy or something like that, or they're doing well. They're enjoying the pleasures of this reality. And suddenly they feel in their hearts something different. They feel in their hearts that they want to unite. They feel in their hearts that they don't want to be upset anymore, that they don't want to be enraged anymore. And that, to some of them, creates polarization, which is rejecting the idea. So they have to go through a little bit of bad to eventually reach out to the point that we're going to go through good. So you mentioned something very important. I totally agree with you. We're going through a beautiful moment, and there's so beautiful energy coming from outside there. And I think we all have the capability to feel it. I'm not saying I'm special, but I've always been sensitive to all kind of energy. So fortunately, artificial, I can feel cell towers, I can feel, electric cars, I can feel that kind of energy, power lines, stuff like that. But I can also feel this energy when it comes. And sometimes it's, especially the last few days actually, has been a little bit tiring. You're tired. There's a lot going on. There's changes inside you going on. And I also believe when it reaches people that they don't have this sensitivity like a volume knob, a little bit, mine maybe it's a little bit up like a cell phone volume sensor or something. They have it all the way down. It creates this rejection that what is going on with me? Okay, there is something different to what I think I am. And so we're going to have to go through a little bit bad to get eventually to the point that we have to change. And I also think we're going to change the way we see Earth and the way we see nature and the way we see that we're actually responsible to take care of Earth. We're a little bit different than animals. Okay, I'm not saying they're not special. They are. But we're kind of the guardians of this beautiful planet. And we are going to find ways. The technology is going to be there. I don't have a problem with that. That's going to happen. We're going to find ways to still sustain ourselves and not be so damaging to nature and planet Earth, because it's not only about humans. Okay, a tree, a waterfall, a rock, whatever the sea, everything is part of the everything. So we are going to realize how important it is to see a bee and treat it like human beings. I was in Turkey a couple of years ago, and the guy there told us, my wife and children and I, that in Turkey we love dogs, and in Turkey dogs and cats are seen as humans. So, for example, you see dogs in the street, and people give them food. If they have some issues or something, they take them to the vet and they pay for it. It's, in a way, dogs and cats are very important to Turkish people, and they see them as equal. That's beautiful. Okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. There was a Mexican dog that helped out in the earthquake that was a couple of years ago, and he died helping people get out of the rubble and they made a statue of him. That's how much they see nature as part of that. So that for me, when he told me that, I said, that's beautiful, you guys, because that's the first step. Maybe it's dogs and cats. Okay, it's a start. Birds, fish, everything, to see them as equal. And I think we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. It's gonna get a little bit bad before it gets better, but we're in a beautiful moment. I can feel it. Many people can feel it. We're in a beautiful moment of humanity. Uh, and by the way, I don't agree with the ones that say 1 year, 6 months, 2025, 2028. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be 50 years, maybe 500 years, but it's going to happen. We're going to go to that next step that we have to take, which, by the way, is long overdue, in my opinion.
Hmm. And I love that they made a statue of the dog, because the dog is a true hero for helping people out of the rubble. That warms my heart. I am a huge animal lover. I have 3 dogs and 3 cats, and I used to have a little farm, but I don't have that anymore. So I do think of animals as equals. They're family members. All my animals are. They're just as important. Their happiness and their comfort is just as important to me as mine. Um, I love them. I love them with all my heart. I adore them. Even though one of them is a big troublemaker, like I said, she doesn't listen very well, but she's
We're all
still,
different. We're all
yeah,
different in that
exactly.
sense.
But animals are such an important. We live in a very synchronistic environment where we need everything that we have. Mosquitoes, they're annoying and they bite you, and I'm allergic to mosquitoes. I get big welts and they itch, but they are a part of the ecology here. You know, we need mosquitoes to feed the birds and the bats, and it's just a whole pyramid. You know, we need everything, and to respect everything, like you were saying, as equals. You know, the animals are just as important. We are animals, just because we communicate in a different way. In fact, I think about this often, and I was having a conversation with my family not too long ago about us as humans, and maybe the animals are more evolved than us. We're the only ones that need clothing and buildings and special jobs and all these special things. They can go out and live in the wilds and survive and thrive, and we wouldn't be able to. And so there is something very special about the more furry animals on the planet, and I respect them a lot, and I do think that they have an advantage to us on this planet.
Yes, there's a lot to learn from nature, I believe, and as you say, and a lot of things we do that I think we overthink it, and as you say, they don't need clothing, they figure it out, they build their shelters, and I think we see a lot of involvement with technology. I would like to see technology to be, and I'm not talking about electric cars and that, because that creates a lot of problems on its own. I'm talking of a different technology that is still not here, that will make us thrive as humans and be in real harmony with nature. Okay, that we help nature even thrive. Technology, for example, wireless technology that gives out harmonic waves, not damaging waves. I'm sorry about that. And I think it's possible. I think it's possible. It's just sometimes either there's not the desire from the creators of this technology. They even admit they don't test it. They say, I don't know if it's going to be harmful. It shouldn't. No, that's not an answer. Okay. And I think there are ways, maybe more expensive ways, to make all of this harmonic. Okay. So Tia, we have gone around an hour. I was just wondering if you have anything in closing that you would like to say.
I would just like to reiterate to everyone that's watching that you're very, very important, that you were put here for a reason, that you are a part of the puzzle piece, and without you, the puzzle wouldn't be complete. And we need everyone here on this planet to be their authentic self. Step outside of the box that you live in. If you are feeling anxiety, guilt, if you're not feeling like you're living your best life, then you need to step outside this box that you're living in. You're limiting yourself, and be your authentic self. And yeah, don't be afraid of anything. Don't take anything too seriously, because this is just an experience. And we're going to have many, many, many more experiences. They're never going to end, ever. You're going to continue living forever. And yeah, I guess that's it. I just want everyone to live their best and most authentic self without being in fear or anxious or anything negative.
Yes, that's a beautiful message, and I will just add to it if it's even possible to just say, just as you say, don't take things too seriously. I say don't think too much, okay? Because sometimes thinking is what gets you in anxiety if you think about it. And I'm saying to minimize your problems or ignore them, but I'm just saying think about it and just take it one day at a time, and then 1 hour at a time, and then 1 minute at a time. Then you get to what is called the present moment, and you start living the present, okay? Because we think a lot about the past, and the past is gone, and we think a lot about the future, and the future is not here yet. So if you think about it, sometimes we get in trouble on our own by overthinking things. And I know it's hard. I know for people that are in depression, and my mother was in depression a lot, and that's the message I share with her, and also the message that at the end, doctors and family and that, but you know what, Mom, you're the only one that can change you. So if you want to get out of this, you're going to have to do something about it. And that's my message to everyone as well. You can change your life today. You have a beautiful gift there. It's free and it's available today. You can start changing your life today, as Tia is saying, by trying to be your best version here in this reality. And really all the answers are within you. All the answers are within you. Trust me on that. It's just a matter of, opening to what we truly are. For me, the message of my channel is discover yourself, is discover who you are. And when we start by discovering that we're eternal beings, that death is just a passage, is like crossing a bridge, is really, I know it sounds very traumatic, but there's really not much there. Spiritually, really the spirit says, okay, this experience has ended, we go to a new one. That's it. That releases you of all this fear, because I believe most of the fear, like what happened in 2020, is based on fear on that. Okay, the 2020 experience, that I don't want to mention the name because the video gets marked and stuff like that. But what we went through in 2020 is based on the fact there was something that was killing people, and that made us so fearful because we don't want to think about that. And I say, yes, think about that, but prepare for it and live your life every day, every hour, every minute, every second. Thank you very much, Tia. I really enjoyed this chat. I hope we have another one, and I'll look for you in a few weeks too, because I think there's so many subjects we can talk on. And I really thank you from the bottom of my heart for accepting this invitation. I really enjoyed it. I knew we were very aligned. That's why I reached out.
I'm glad that you did. This has been really an enjoyable experience for me, and I would love to come on back and talk some more.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Have a great day. Thank you, Tia. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for making it to this part of the video. This is my favorite part. This is where I suggest to you that you discover your true self. You are not what you have been groomed to believe. You are this incredible being without limits that has eternal life, amazing strength, infinite wisdom, and a big, beautiful heart. All your limits are always self-imposed. Your best version in this reality is inside you. Your only mission on this life is to become a beacon of love and to serve others. This version is ready to be discovered today. How do you discover your true self? The discovery process is a personal one. No one can do it for you. Dedicate 5 minutes a day to talk to the universe. Simply ask, who am I? Where do I come from? What is my purpose? You will start getting signs, breakthroughs, and signals. You will notice how your notions about this reality start disappearing. No more hierarchies, no more competition, no more complaining, no more depending on others. Discovering your true self equals to real freedom. Your self-imposed limits will fall and you will be ready to understand this reality, but you must be patient to allow others to wake up at their time through their own free will. That will be really soon, you will see, and that will set up a new world. As you work towards your best version, you will notice how all emotions don't serve you anymore. Hate, fear, rage, pride, lust, envy, violence, justice through violence, judgment of others, and other emotions will disappear from your mind and heart. You will understand those emotions serve only your egoic mind and are not you. Please try to be understanding of others that don't think or feel like you. Everyone has a process. No one is right or wrong. We're all just different. Don't be concerned about being right, ever. Don't allow pride preventing you from patching things up with family and friends. It is very important you enjoy this life with your loved ones. Put in the work to patch things up and leave it to others to decide. Thank you very much for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe. If you have any comments or suggestions, please use the comment section below. For private questions, conversations, and if you would like to appear on the show, please email me at hey@thealexshow.tv. Thank you again. Please don't forget to visit our website www.thealexshow.tv. By giving me your time, you honor me. Have a very, very, very nice day.